Hello to my friends at Dyersburg Primary School. My name is Vanessa Kane. I'm the Children's Director here at McIvers Grant Public Library, and I am here to bring a book to you that goes along with your theme, Nature All Around Us, How Do Plants Grow? This book is called We Are the Gardeners, and it's written by Joanna Gaines and her kids. And it's all about how you can be a gardener. Look at that. And it tells you a little bit about how plants grow, so it goes along well with your theme. All right, let's see what happens. See how the end pages have a bunch of pictures with gardening things on them? I see watering cans, pitchforks and boots, and rakes and gloves and plants. All kinds of things that you need to be a gardener. It's illustrated by Julianna Swaney, so she drew the pictures, and it is published by Tommy Nelson Books, which is an imprint of Thomas Nelson. And there's a picture at the front of Joanna and the kids. It says, "To our dad, you have taught us that we can do hard things and to never give up, even when we fail." We are the gardeners. That's a pretty official title, but we didn't start out that way. Just like our garden, we started small and grew from there. Some say that a garden just grows from seeds, but we think it grows from trying and failing and trying again. A garden is hard work, but so is most of the good, important stuff in life. And there are the gardeners. Our family's garden story began with one small potted fern. Dad stumbled upon it at the hardware store when he ran in for some supplies. He said it was just too cute to leave behind, and he thought it would make Mom smile. It did. There's a little fern. Look at that. On the shelf at the hardware store all by itself. Poor little fern. Needed a home, didn't it? We chose a sunny windowsill for that pretty little fern. It seemed like a good, safe place for him to grow. This was back when we were little kids, but we still remember visiting the plant each day to give him a drink, and sometimes we'd even whisper to him a bit. There's that fern on the windowsill. And there are the gardeners with their watering pots. And then, plot twist, out of nowhere, our fern died. Death by overhydration. That's just a fancy way of saying we gave it way too much water. Looking back, each one of us must have watered him every day. That's a lot of drinks for a little plant. By mistake, we loved that plant to death. Some people tell themselves that they are no good at something after one small failure, but no chance were we going to give up that easy. Look at that poor little plant. So we checked out some books from the library, and we found out that ferns can be tricky and prefer to live in shady spots. Apparently, a plant's leaves can communicate to us what they're needing. We also learned that most plants have good manners and like to sip, not gulp. Lesson learned. There's all the gardeners reading their books from the library. There's the ferns sipping their drinks. That's kind of funny. They've got them drinking like tea. And they have learned to look at the plant's leaves to see what it needs. Dad got us a fresh fern, and with it came fresh hope. This time we set the pot on our piano way on the other side of the room where the sun wouldn't give him so much attention. We made a watering schedule and took turns saying a lot of nice things to our little sprout of a plant. And fern number 2 lived and thrived and grew. And finally, Mom got him a little potted friend. And then another. And then 1 or 2 more. We noticed that talking to our plants actually helped them grow bigger and stronger. So we added some songs and jokes into the mix. Unlike when we overwatered, 0 plants died from us talking too much. Pretty soon, plants were taking over the house, and Dad said it was time to graduate to outdoor gardening. Look at all those plants that they're taking care of. Mom was as excited about the new outdoor garden as we were, and she started talking about it with a dreamy look in her eyes. That's when Dad called a family meeting so we could come up with a real plan. There's Mom. Look at her. She's thinking of all kinds of things that she wants in her garden. Can you name a couple things in that picture that she wants in her garden? I see carrots and tomatoes and flowers. I see peppers. What do you see? all around the house. We gathered around the kitchen table and got to work dreaming, planning, and drawing things out. Can you see them dreaming and planning and drawing things out? A big family project. I like big family projects. We knew we needed a sunny spot, a place where the plants could sunbathe for at least 6 hours a day. We'd be red as radishes if we did that, but plants just love it. And more than that, they need it. In the garden, there is no life without light. There's their plan. You can see the pages turned down a little bit. They've got a picture of the sun. They've got raised beds all in a row. Got a place for chickens, and they've got a shed. They've got a water source. They've got notes, a pencil, and they're making sure that they've got all kinds of things. And then look, there's some seeds they've already got going. Let's see what happens. Dad always says that the foundation is the most important thing when it comes to building a house. A house can't be strong if it's built on something weak, and the same holds true in the garden. So to make the foundation of our garden strong, we filled it with something called soil. Good soil, which includes a bunch of tiny living things called organisms, can grow things in it. That's pretty amazing when you stop and think about it. A whole hidden world of life is happening beneath our feet. Just because you can't see the good things with your eyes doesn't mean they're not there. And another cool thing about soil is that it feeds and strengthens the seeds we sow. And then, like a miracle, plants and flowers burst out of the ground. And there we have a picture of this is the top of the plant. And here's the bottom of the plant. So you can see the carrots, they grow under the ground, and the onions grow under the ground, and the radishes grow under the ground. And I think that's a beet. And then what else is under the ground? I see potatoes under there, and oh, I see a worm under there. You think that's a good thing that there's a worm under there? Let's see. We also knew we needed our garden to get plenty of water. Rain is the very best thing for plants to drink, but it's hard to know when and if rain is coming. So a couple other options to keep plants hydrated are to collect rainwater or to use a sprinkler or garden hose to get the job done. So that's the second time they've used that word hydrated. Hydrated means that you give something a good drink. Sometimes we get hydrated when we go to the water fountain. If we've been playing outside and we're hot and we go to the water fountain, we can say we're getting hydrated. Wouldn't that make your mom so proud if you went home and said, I feel like I need to be hydrated? So that's what they do with their garden too. And there they are. They have a hose. They've got a bucket, a watering can. They're filling up their watering can. Dad's got a wheelbarrow. They're all working to help keep those plants watered. Once we had a location with plenty of sun, good soil, and a watering plan, we got right to work. First things first, seeds. The most fun part of planning out our garden was deciding what to plant. We started with the foods we like to eat, like strawberries and tomatoes, and then we chose some pretty flowers to keep them company. The thing about seeds is that they are everyday miracles. Everything a plant will grow up to be is already hidden inside that seed. And there are some seed packets. There's some strawberries, just those little bitty seeds that strawberries have in them when you go to eat them, and you see those little seeds. That's what they've got that grow into more strawberries. And then that's zinnia. That's a pretty flower. Isn't that a pretty flower? That's zinnia seeds. We chose flowers like zinnias and sunflowers and cosmos so that pollinators would visit our garden. Butterflies, hummingbirds, and bees spread pollen around from flower to flower, encouraging even more things to bloom. We like knowing that little helpers are out there in nature working with us to help this garden grow. I see a hummingbird. I see some bees. I see some butterflies. The bees must have put the word out that we had a pretty good thing going, because sure enough, all sorts of other critters started to arrive. We quickly found out that there were 3 types of bugs in our backyard: the good, the bad, and the ugly. Let's start with the worst part. It was a pretty sad day when the aphids arrived. They are some of the more well-known villains in the gardening world. They suck the life right out of plants. But then the ladybugs showed up to eat those pesky aphids for lunch. Ladybugs are sure part of the hero camp, bravely protecting our plant friends from harm. And there they are, checking out those aphids. And here comes dun, 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 the ladybug. And we've got to tell you about the earthworms. They're like the secret agents of the garden. Earthworms eat all of the dead things like old roots and leaves and turn them into life for the soil. Every time we found one, we would all high-five and celebrate. They aren't pretty, but who cares? They're awesome, and we love seeing them hard at work. I like that they put that little secret agent coat on the worm. He's wearing glasses and a little hat. We realized pretty quickly that we needed to keep the weeds out. They are the true bullies of the garden. Weeds try to steal water, sunlight, nutrients from our fruits and veggies, and it's our job to make sure those little rascals don't take over. If we ignore the garden for too long, the weeds run wild and hurt our beloved plants. It's much easier to do just a little bit every day. Look at that weed got really big, didn't it? But they're just doing it a little at a time, and it's not such a big job. A lot of things in life are like that, aren't they? We were officially gardeners and had a real-life garden to prove it. That garden became our pride and joy. Day in and day out, we tended to our plants, making sure they got plenty of sun and water. Every time a new plant sprouted up from the ground, our excitement grew right along with it. Look at that garden. Can you see them all working in the garden? That is pretty awesome, isn't it? And raised beds, they allow you to walk in between them. It's kind of cool. As time passed, our garden grew bigger, and so did our family. When our garden was finally in full bloom and growing tall, we'd run through the aisles and watch the butterflies flutter around us. Look at them running through those aisles. Oh, and I see a baby. That's what they meant by their family was growing. I see a baby. But one day, as we were mid-skip, we noticed some trespassers helping themselves to lunch. And by lunch, we mean half of the garden. Animals may look cute and innocent, but some have a sneaky side. They can wipe out a garden in no time flat. The chickens ate the vegetables, the goats ate Mom's roses, the bunnies weren't picky at all, they ate anything in sight. Saying goodbye to that many happy plants was even harder than throwing away that first dead fern. We debated if we should just give up. Was it really worth it to start all over again? And then we remembered one very important detail. We are the gardeners. It was our responsibility not only to grow this garden, but also to protect it. So we put up a little fence to keep the animals out and got to work rebuilding our garden. Oh, look at that. Doesn't that make you sad? Look at all those plants are gone. Did you remember what it looked like on the page before? Look at all those plants. And then, oh, they ate them up. It didn't take very long to get our plants and flowers growing tall again. To this day, our very favorite days are when we get to gather the fruits of our labor. Mom loves to set the table with pretty flowers in every color you can imagine. We help her dream up recipes for the foods we're given. Sometimes when we see all of that beauty laid out, we can't believe our hands helped bring that to life. And it makes all the hard work worth it. It's what keeps us coming back day after day, season after season. There they are in the middle of their garden on a big table, eating. You see the flowers on the table and all of the things on the table that they grew themselves and then made into lunch. We still keep a little fern on the piano to remind us of our small beginnings. Every time we water it, we are reminded not to give up when things don't work out the first time. Because the thing is, whether one potted fern dies or half the garden is wiped out by little critters, every failure or setback teaches us something. Dad said that every hard thing we choose to do makes us braver for the next time. There they all are in their garden. There are so many lessons waiting to be learned in a whole wide world full of gardening ready to bloom. We are the gardeners, and you can be too. I like that book. I like that it teaches us not only about how the plants grow, but how we grow when we do something and it doesn't quite work out and we say, oh my, I'm going to do that again. And then it does work out. I bet you've already done that a lot of times because you are so brave and wonderful. I'm so proud of you. I hope that y'all have a really great day today. I hope you're good to your friends and I hope you're really good for your teachers. And we will see you next week. Okay.